Guys, Netflix is destroying my marriage.
It's not the Netflix.
Netflix is destroying my marriage. It really is.
Do tell.
Have you ever? Okay, let me set up most evenings. All right, so we come home, we make dinner. After dinner's done, we kind of clean up. We sit down, we turn on the TV, and it starts with, "What do you want to watch?" And
that's a question she asks you, or you ask her.
Sometimes either one, just depends. And
Okay.
occasionally I say things like, "Not the Hallmark Channel," which she loves the Hallmark Channel because I can
Smart.
only take so much of that, but she loves it.
Thinking.
Yes. And then it usually goes, "All right, let's see what's on Netflix."
Okay.
So then we'll turn on the Netflix and I'll just start picking stuff out like, ooh, action movie. Ooh, sci-fi movie. Ooh, superhero movie. Ooh,
Okay.
aliens movie. And every time I pick one, she will say things to the effect of, "That's kind of brainless, don't you think?" Or, "I don't even like that sort of stuff."
An action movie being brainless?
Right. Has she not seen Die Hard? And the answer is, she has not seen Die Hard.
She has not seen the
She
greatest
has
Christmas
not-
movie ever made.
If you say it's not a Christmas movie,
I mean,
whatever.
you're welcome
I
to your
mean,
opinion.
yeah,
You're just
we-
wrong.
We're just probably wrong. Yeah, we're not going to meet anybody at the playground after work. But
You know, I described to my wife is not a huge movie watcher
yeah,
prior to us dating.
yes,
So most of the time, I learned to stop asking, "Have you seen this?" And just assume no.
yes.
So the first time that she was like, "Let's watch a movie," and you can pick. Like, oh, all right, sweet,
Let's
So
do it.
I said, "Let's watch the greatest love story of all time,
Deadpool,
Braveheart."
Braveheart. Totally acceptable answer. Great movie.
So we're watching it, and we're watching the good version.
Yes.
Not the one you
edited
see
one,
on
no.
on cable,
The one where it's all
where
of
they
the-
where they don't
everything.
show him cutting people's heads off.
Yes,
And, like, that's
yes.
ridiculous.
Right, blood everywhere. Fantastic. Keep going.
So, right, we're watching it, and we get to the first battle.
Yeah.
Right, she gets through the village scene, which is really rough.
Yeah, that thing is brutal. That
Right?
is a brutal scene.
And then that's
Fantastic.
when you first get that emotional attachment to that bagpipe,
Yeah.
like chorus.
Yeah, whatever the
whatever
music
it
is, and then
It's
like
beautiful,
him.
and when I watch it, I can't. I struggle to get past that scene because the little kid does a good job of like welling up without crying.
Yeah.
And then little Marin is like so sad and hands him the flower. Okay, so when he hands her the flower, I'm like, this is the reason why, right? Then you fast forward, spoilers, to the fights, and they're brutal and awesome.
Yes.
And he's like, when he's done, he's holding
Covered
the
in
sword
blood.
up, and he's just covered in blood. It's
Right.
amazing, right? Then the end happens, and it's awful.
Yes.
And then it ends, but then you realize at the very end, as he's going through the being tortured, he sees the love of his life,
walk through.
and
That
she
makes you wanna
smiles
cry.
at him, and
Yep.
he sort of smiles at her, and his
Then he
head
yells.
gets cut off, and then they're together.
And he yells,
Greatest
"Freedom."
love story,
Ever.
greatest love story ever,
Ever.
right? So now she doesn't quite agree with the way I describe movies. She learns, or she's very intelligent.
Oh.
So then I said, we should watch probably one of the greatest movies ever because of the soundtrack score.
Ooh.
It's very classical music based.
Okay. Star Wars?
Not Star Wars. And my wife loves Star
Close.
Wars. I know your wife doesn't like Star Wars. That's
That's
because
okay.
you done messed
It's
up.
my fault. We
So-
know that one. We've established that.
We turn on
Uh-huh.
Last of the Mohicans.
Oh. Good movie. Good movie.
Daniel
Day-Lewis.
Fantastic.
Great.
movie. Scenery
Absolutely.
in that movie.
Yes. Cinematography, the lighting,
Gorgeous.
costumes. Oh.
It's so in the end when she just spoiler in the end when she's standing up at the top and he's like, "Come on." The bad guy's like, "Magua." He's like, "Come on." And she's like, "I'd rather fall off this cliff." And then she like dives off the cliff.
Yep.
And then the promontory is just like picking up as it gets there.
Yes.
And I would tell my wife, this is true. So I used to play sports when I was little.
Yes.
And there were, from my house where I grew up to my high school, it was 7 minutes 30 seconds roughly to get from my driveway to the parking lot and turn my car off. Okay. 7 minutes and 30 seconds. You can play Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry, or you can play Promontory from Last of the Mohicans. So depending on my mood.
Yes.
And I would tell my wife the other teams that I would play against. If I was listening to No Woman, No Cry, I was probably going to go out and, really be competitive and really want to win. But, you're hanging out with Bob Marley as you're driving up to warm up, right?
Roll up one,
if I was listening to Promontory from Last of the Mohicans, someone was dying.
I'm going to run him over today.
So you've got to... So you've got to get better at describing the movie
before we get started. So that's the key.
So if you said to her, "Let's watch a holiday flick,"
and just played it,
and then you turned on Die Hard, right? She would ask you, "Why are we watching this?" And then you can say to her, "You have to watch the movie to understand where my description comes in." It
takes place on Christmas Eve,
right? Plus, you get to engage your creativity a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, so you don't describe it as Bruce Willis like taking down terrorists.
No, but it was great.
Right, blowing up helicopters and jumping off the roof with a hose.
Walking across glass with bare feet. That was the worst part, man. I watched that every time. I've seen that movie I don't know how many times, and every time he does it, I cringe a little.
I mean,
a little.
He gets beat up.
He does. That was the best part of the movie.
Right, so you got to That's why I said at the beginning, it's not Netflix. You got to up your game in the describing of what you're watching.
See, because she's like, "What about Little Women?" I was like, "What is it about midgets?" And she was like, "First off, we call them dwarves." All right, so that's when I knew something was like stuff was breaking bad.
That's Snow White.
Point.
That's not Little Women. That's Snow White.
So not only did I get thrown under the bus for calling dwarves the wrong word, I got in trouble for this is a classic.
Yes.
Piece of literature.
Yep.
That they've turned into a movie. And you would grow from this. And I was like, didn't we grow when we watched Deadpool? Didn't we grow when we watched Deadpool 2? Didn't we grow when we watched... Oh, gosh, what was the name of that one? Oh, yeah, all the Star Wars movies.
Deadpool is hilarious.
It's a great movie.
It's so
Ryan
funny.
Reynolds is like
He's so funny.
Right. Ryan, if you're watching this and you do
He's
watch
really
this, come
funny.
into the studio. We want to talk to you.
His comedic delivery is hilarious. I mean, he can really only play that part.
Right.
But he's really good at playing that part.
And I don't hold it against him that he's Canadian. I still think he's great.
I think he's hilarious. I mean, he was funny in Waiting.
Yeah.
Long time
Two
ago.
guys, a girl, and a pizza place. Remember that television show he was in?
Yeah.
And that was his early career, and he was good in that too.
Yeah. I mean, everything was an epic fail about the Green Lantern, but that's not his fault.
No, that was bad script. That was just
a terrible movie.
Lousy script writing and
terrible movie.
Yes.
Right.
He tried to rescue
on par
it,
with the new Star Wars movies.
Right.
It's like terrible.
He's in both DC and Marvel. Dude is like a double dipper.
I mean, yeah.
And I want a good Green Lantern movie. I really do.
Yeah.
DC, where are you on this?
I don't know. What's Lantern?
Or just that.
Lantern.
The only good DC movies was Wonder Woman.
I never watched it. I recorded it and never watched it.
Fantastic flick. Gal
I liked
Gadot.
when she showed up in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that movie. And it wasn't that it was bad, right? I mean, I was
the Zack Snyder
I wasn't excited about Ben Affleck playing Batman, but he didn't do a terrible job of it.
No, he was
right?
okay.
He wasn't. I didn't like his Bruce Wayne. His Batman was okay.
Yeah.
But you basically fast forwarded through a ton of the Superman comics.
Yeah.
With the ending.
Yes.
And so then, so
50
similar
years.
to this conversation we had, I don't know when it was, last week, at some point in time, where we were talking about how you can't, if you're not emotionally invested in the character, right? If you don't feel like they're at risk, this is why movies like Braveheart are great, right? And Last of the Mohicans is great because Die Hard is great because you're nervous for him the whole entire time.
Right. Pain.
Right.
Suffering.
They're going through things.
Yeah.
But if Superman already dies and comes back, then
else
you
can
know, based on the comics, that he's not going to die again.
Superman.
So now, what's the risk? That's why the Avengers stuff worked
'Cause they're
so
all-
well, because you didn't want them. You weren't sure who was going to be eliminated,
Yeah.
who was going to die.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why Game of Thrones was so good.
Because everybody died.
Because there was no one that was sacred.
no one
And
was
that's
safe.
why when they got past the books,
Mhm.
right? As soon as they brought back Jon Snow,
Mhm.
the show was over. It wasn't that the rest of the seasons didn't have their moments. Like
Mhm.
the CGI stuff with the dragons was pretty cool,
Yeah.
but you weren't at any risk
No, because the lead
Because-
character is back
because
again.
they weren't they weren't going to get rid of him, right? So
Yeah.
getting murdered by your friends, right? If that didn't kill you, you're not going
Not
to
gonna
die, right? So even during the Battle of the Bastards,
Yeah.
right? I wasn't worried for them all. They tried to do like the epic scenes where they're coming up above and he's getting squashed. Like whatever. He's not gonna die.
He's not gonna die.
He's not gonna die. He already died and he already
Right,
came
was he
back.
gonna
So he's
die
not gonna
again?
die. And they're not gonna kill Dany. And by the time they did kill Dany, who cares? Because it was stupid. Because that was just dumb.
And it just took a
But
turn.
when you watch the first, 4 seasons, it's really good because they're just unapologetically brutal and it's a game of consequences.
Yeah, and people are getting beheaded.
It's, the guy gets gold poured on his head. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
It's kinda
goes
gross.
back to
My wife watches Harry Potter. So whenever
my wife doesn't.
like if I was downstairs doing something and I came upstairs and she was watching Harry Potter, I would just go right back downstairs out of respect.
Right.
So that she can keep watching it, because her general disposition is if I was upstairs and I was going to be watching TV, she'd hand me the remote and she would literally say to me, watch whatever you want.
Wow, that's what I've reverted to doing, because since we can't decide on anything to watch, I just say, you just pick something, which Breaks Bad every time.
Breaking
Every
Bad is a
time.
great show. You should totally watch it.
Actually,
If you
yeah,
haven't
that
wa-
one you
If
should
you haven't
check
watched it,
out.
you should totally watch it.
And we will.
And then you can watch Better Call Saul, but you have to watch Breaking Bad first.
right? Have you watched The Boys on Prime
The
Video?
Boys? No.
The Boys. It's another superhero spoof thing. Brutal. You don't know who's gonna die.
Really?
You need to check that out. It
The
was
Boys
so good. Even
on
my
Prime?
wife enjoyed that one.
Hmm.
We watched 5 minutes of the first episode, and she's like, "This is amazing."
I watched the one with.
She doesn't like that stuff.
I watched the series. What's with John Krasinski, the guy from The Office, where he's the Jack.
Jack Reacher?
No, not Jack Reacher. That's
You
know what I'm talking
Tom
about.
Clancy's
Yeah.
Jack.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. Yeah.
the first season of that was really good.
Was it? I have not
Yeah,
seen it.
And some of the stuff that they came up with, which I imagined these terrorists
Have probably
that we
done.
don't talk about anymore, like
Yeah.
they're gone,
Like
they're
they
not, right?
disappeared. COVID.
But I would imagine that some of the stuff that they did is probably based on things that have actually occurred.
probably.
And there are
Clancy
some
has-
disgusting things that happen in the first couple episodes, and I just remember sitting there thinking,
really gross.
how do you come up with that?
Yeah.
Because had I not seen that,
Mm-hmm.
I would never have come up with that as an idea.
Yes. And Clancy usually has people that have been in the
Yes.
business
Right.
telling him about these things.
Right.
So I feel all of that stuff is rooted in some
I
sort
think
of truth.
I agree. The second season wasn't as good.
No.
It wasn't as I wasn't as nervous,
Mhm.
right? And I wasn't there wasn't a reason, they didn't do a good job of making me feel like I cared about the people that had things go wrong,
Interesting.
right? But in the first one,
Sloppy writing.
because in the second one it was about individuals,
Mhm.
right? But I didn't care about the individuals. The first one was about the masses, right? Like stopping a mass terrorist attack. The second one was about stopping people from being assassinated.
Interesting. I
Right.
got to check it out.
So it was different.
So you're going to recommend that one to me, huh?
I think you should watch it.
I'll
I mean,
watch
the
that
first
if you check
season's
out The Boys.
all right. I'll watch The Boys.
Don't have the kids in the room.
Yeah, I generally no. When the kids are in the room, we're watching Rebels.
Yes. Solid choice.
My daughter loves Rebels,
You've raised a good kid.
but she said, "Did I tell you the story?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was so happy, she was so excited that he came back.
Yes.
She doesn't understand that we just started watching the series from the
Series
beginning.
over again. I was going to say, but he didn't. You know what? She
Yeah,
doesn't
you know what?
And that's what matters.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't think Netflix is going to bring you down.
No.
I think you just need to. I think you need to be. You need to employ more creativity to the way in which you describe what you're about to watch.
I like that
right?
advice.
Like, I've not met another person who describes Braveheart as the greatest love story ever told.
No. And the only thing that'll undo my marriage is probably me. Guys, thanks for tuning in
Both
for
of those
another
things
one.
are
We
true.
all know how this is going to end up. But if you'd like to see this continue as my wife hates this, help me with my marriage, send me some advice in the columns below. Or don't. I really don't care. But go ahead, ring that bell. Follow what we do. I do care about it. I do care about it. Like what we do. That way you get the notifications. Head to ourcommunitynow.com to see more of what we do. And if you want to see my face, it's probably there way more than he
there
wants
a lot.
to see it.
It's there a lot.
It is a lot. Which they obviously know good talent when they see it. But I'm Josh. Yeah, you know who he is. Guys, we'll see you next time. My wife hates this.